Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Camera's probably gonna die halfway through this, but I want to sit down and chat with you guys and go over how I've lost weight. I've been in a cutting phase, I've been in a calorie deficit, I've been getting so many questions. I'm very proud of the progress I've made. I didn't think that I would make the progress that I did, so I want to be able to share this information with you guys because I know what it's like to feel like crap and to not feel confident in your body. So I want to give you guys this information so you take the steps and feel your best again, become your best self, feel confident and strong again. So we're going to talk about all that today in this video in depth. Let's get into it. Also, I'm drinking my electrolytes, which I've been trying to do every single day. These are the Waterboy electrolytes. I really like this brand. I'm drinking the strawberry lemon, which is not my favorite flavor. I love their cherry limeade though, so recommend. Okay, so let's get into this. So in my last video of my what I eat in a day in a calorie deficit, I sat down and chatted with you guys how I determine my macros, what a calorie deficit is, how to determine your own macros, and kind of the progression of that. So if you are looking to start a calorie deficit, want to learn how to track your macros, want to learn how to track your calorie deficit and the progression of it, highly recommend checking out that last video. I will link it down below for you guys so you can also watch that for more information there. But this is really just going to be about my journey and everything, basically, like the workouts, the movement, the habits, and the nutrition, like everything that I've done the last 4 months within my cutting phase and within this weight loss journey that I'm on right now. Again, it's kind of weird to say weight loss journey because I'm really not trying to lose like 100 pounds, but I definitely have weight to lose. So I wanted to start this journey and I've been able to lose the weight and I'm feeling much better in my body. So I'm just feeling good and we're going to call it what it is. So number one, okay. I'm going to start off with the nutrition aspect because obviously this is a big part of it. When you are looking to lose weight, the only way to lose weight is to be in a calorie deficit. I know we hear it all the time, but scientifically, the only way to lose weight is by burning more calories than you are consuming. That is how to be in a calorie deficit. Now you can do this through eating less food. You can do this by burning more calories by your workouts, but a lot of times that is going to be done through a calorie deficit, burning more than you are consuming. With the calorie deficit, I recommend watching that video so you can see how I determined my macros, how you can determine your macros to start a calorie deficit process. I also chatted how not everyone is ready to go into a calorie deficit right off the jump. Some people do have to take a moment to go through a reverse diet and upregulate their metabolism before starting a cutting phase and going through a deficit. But again, that's the very extreme, more detailed, individualized experience that's really hard to give general advice on just this video. But the first thing is the nutrition. Now, do I think you have to track your macros and calories in like MyFitnessPal or any tracking app to see results? Not necessarily, but I do think it helps. I do. I really, really do think it helps because it does just keep you on track so much more, and it takes a lot of that guesswork out and also leaves not a lot of room for error. You'll be able to reach your goals in a lot more of a timely manner when you are tracking it on an app to see that data. I have clients who don't track macros and calories and do see progress with weight loss. So again, you don't have to track it, but I do think it is helpful if you are in a state of mind and have a healthy mindset and have worked on your mental for a while and can take in tracking calories and macros without it becoming this extreme, very unhealthy thing. I do recommend it. I do think everyone at some point should track their nutrition, should track their calories and macros, because a lot of times, intuitive eating, to intuitively eat, you have to have intuition. And a lot of that comes from taking the time to learn macronutrients, to learn what 4 ounces of chicken looks like on your plate, what 25 grams of fiber in a day looks like. So I think tracking your calories and macros at some point within your journey is helpful on the knowledge side of things too, just to kind of learn and know these things. I do really think it is beneficial. I don't think we should be tracking forever. I tracked back in 2021, 2022, and I took all of 2023 off, all of 2024 off, and just ate really intuitively and just ate like kind of at maintenance. Went through a lot of stressful times throughout 2023 and 2024. That put a little bit of my fitness journey on the back burner, which then led to weight gain. And that's kind of what led us here in 2025 to really start nipping in the butt and go through this phase. So it's not something I have to do forever, but I do think it's helpful. But I also want to say, like, on the contrary, like, you can also see results without tracking calories and macros within a designated app. A lot of our clients do food logs. I think just doing a food diary is helpful if you don't want to do the numbers. I think writing down just what you're eating throughout the day to keep track and make sure you're kind of still on the same, on the right track with where you need to be. Get your 3 balanced meals in a day, getting some high protein snacks in there. So I think a food diary or something along those lines is going to be very helpful for you when you are going through a calorie deficit and trying to lose weight. So that's the first thing there. Now, when it comes, again, you got to figure out your calorie deficit numbers if you're tracking calories. If you're going to go the route where you're just doing like a food diary or food logging, food journal, with this, a way that you can kind of start to go through a calorie deficit without having like calorie deficit numbers really is to start looking at your portion control. If you're seeing that your plate is majority carbs and a little bit of protein and a little bit of veggies, this is where you want to look at your plate now and be like, okay, let's cut the carbs in half a little bit. Let's add a little bit more protein to the plate and add a little bit more veggies to the plate. You're adding more fiber and you're adding more protein. Those two things are going to help keep you satiated and fuller for longer, which is going to help you avoid any cravings throughout the day, avoid any random snacking throughout the day, which tends to lead us into eating more calories than we are burning. So that's when we get out of that calorie deficit and start to be in maintenance or over maintenance and start to gain weight or whatever that looks like. So that's a way you can look at your nutrition without tracking calories. Just focusing more on portion control, adding more nutrients to your plate, adding more protein to your plate. I'm not demonizing carbs. I think every plate should have a good balance of protein, fats, carbs, and fiber. Having those 4 components on your plate at every meal is going to be super important, and it's going to help regulate everything. It's going to help balance your blood sugar and keep you satiated throughout the day. So I'm not demonizing carbs, but I do think that adding more protein and more veggies and fruits to your plates are going to help you feel your best and, again, keep you fuller for longer, which is going to help us not randomly snack throughout the day and put us out of our calorie range that we want to be in. Another thing on the side of nutrition that really, really helped me lose weight is having more high protein and high volume meals. So kind of on the topic of like the higher protein, higher fiber intake, high volume meals are very, very, very helpful for me because I'm a girl who is hungry. I like to eat and I need a lot of food to fill me up. So especially in the beginning of my calorie deficit cutting phase, I was a little more hungry. I was eating a lot more food, and then cutting food back down, you're gonna feel hungry, especially in the beginning of the deficit. So for that case, I really wanted to make sure I was getting a lot of food on my plate. So thinking about high volume foods, adding a bunch of spinach, adding a bunch of lettuce, and bulking up your plates. Thinking of high volume snacks, that could be berries. You can eat a bunch of blueberries for very low calorie. A lot of fruits you can eat a lot of for very low calorie. Same with veggies, a lot of cucumbers, a lot of carrots. Adding a bunch of those to your plates. If I would have chicken salad, instead of having it with crackers or chips, I would do carrots or cucumbers or bell peppers as to use as dips instead. Again, with berries, adding blueberries, raspberries, those things are low in calorie, high in fiber. They're going to keep me full, but I can eat a lot of them. And then in terms of like savory things, popcorn was one of my favorite things too. It's very high volume. You can eat a lot of popcorn. I would say focusing on the high volume foods helped a ton. And then finding other ways to like bulk up your meals with like rice. So like I said, we're not demonizing carbs here, but if you're going to do half rice and then half cauliflower rice, you're going to have more food to eat, but you're going to also still be getting some good fiber sources through the cauliflower rice, and you're still eating more, which is going to help keep you full. I would say just bulking up your meals with more nutrients, so keeping a high protein, high volume is so helpful. And like swapping from like an 80-20 beef to a 96-4 ground beef, you are going to feel the difference immediately because you're going to feel so much fuller. And then again, going for like more leaner protein sources is something that I've been doing recently with my calories getting lower. So doing more like chicken breast, 99.1 ground turkey, chicken sausage, egg whites. So things that are going to be lower fat, higher protein, leaner protein sources are going to be super, super helpful. Do I miss salmon? Yeah. Do I miss steak? Yeah, but unfortunately, it does not help or support my calorie deficit because they are very high in calories, very high in fat. So I want to be able to eat a lot more food. So to do that, I'm just choosing for higher protein, leaner protein sources, and again, higher volume meals. Splitting my carbs in half instead of having the full serving of the rice, splitting it in half and doing half cauliflower rice or doing half greens of like spinach or lettuce or something like that. So that's been a super, super helpful tip right there with the nutrition aspect. Okay, and then another thing that helped a lot with me losing weight is increasing my step count. And I know it sounds so silly and it sounds like, okay, no shit, you're getting more movement in, so you're going to be burning more calories throughout the day. Exactly. But I work from home, so I was averaging around like sometimes 4,000 to 5,000 steps a day. Yeah, that's not good. We need to be burning more calories. We need to be moving more throughout the day. So what I did for myself back in I don't know, April of 2024, so like a year ago, my bestie Sophia, she was like, I was venting to her about kind of my journey, my confidence. I was just feeling like crap. She goes, you need a walking pad. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. You know, I'm feeling so low right now. If this is the one thing that's going to really help me feel better, I'm going to buy it. And I did. And I still to this day think it was like the best investment for myself and my health, productivity wise, mental health wise, and physical health wise. Truly the best thing I've ever bought. So if you don't have a walking pad, I highly recommend it. Even if you don't work from home, having a walking pad is so helpful, especially if you live in a colder state where it snows like 6 months of the year and you can't go outside and go for walks. Having a walking pad at home so you can get your walks in, literally put it in front of the TV. I usually put like, I work and walk a lot of times too, but if I'm not working, I just have a YouTube video on and I'm walking on my walking pad watching YouTube. It's the easiest thing you can possibly do for yourself. And walking is so incredible for your body. And like I said, it really helped my productivity too. So if you do work from home, I do think having a walking pad is helpful because it just makes me more productive. I don't know what it is. I just am able to get so much more work done while I'm walking. So increasing my step count, like I said, I was averaging around like 4,000 to 5,000 steps once I got my walking pad. And then this year when I started my cutting phase, I made my goal 10,000 steps every single day. And I'm now getting like 10 to 12,000 steps every single day, with the exception of like 1 to 2 days. Sometimes on the weekends, I might not get my steps in. I usually give myself like one day where I don't have to get my steps in just to give myself like a full rest day. But pretty like consistently, I'm getting 10 to 12 steps every single day. And that has been a huge game changer, truly. If you can afford it, if you can put aside the money or start saving for it, get a freaking walking pad and start walking more. Get more steps in. I'm telling you, it's the easiest thing you can do. It truly is. If you can't go to the gym, get a membership, go to fitness classes, or do anything like that, get a walking pad and start walking. Please. It's the best thing, truly. So I've been doing that, and that has been a big game changer for my inflammation and my weight loss. Number 3, I was just raving about this the other day or to like a client of mine. Meal prepping my breakfast and lunch every single week. I have meal prepped my breakfast and lunch every single week for, I kid you not, like 4 months now. And that is the most consistent I've ever been with meal prepping. And whether it's a meal prep, like I'm ingredient prepping for the week, or I'm actually meal prepping the meals, I have done it every single week. It is so freaking helpful. Kind of bouncing off of the first thing we said with nutrition, limiting the snacking. I used to just snack all freaking day for no reason. And since I started meal prepping, I don't snack anymore. I rarely ever snack because I'm full from my meals and I don't need to prep. Like a lot of times when I was waiting to make my meals or letting my meals cook, I was hungry as hell. So I'd be snacking with whatever was in the pantry. I'd be eating just grapes out of the bowl. I'd be eating chips out of the bag. And then by the time the meal was ready to go, I would still eat that meal too. So I was just snacking all day long, and it was just not helpful whatsoever for me or obviously my goals. So meal prepping my breakfast and lunch keeps me on track with one, making sure I always was getting my protein in because I already had these meals prepped and ready to go. I knew how much protein and how many carbs and fats were in them. So I already knew that I was hitting my protein intake every single day. I already knew majority, like that's like 70% of my day was already done and already hitting my goals perfectly. And with meal prepping my breakfast and lunch every single day, there was there was room for little to no error. I couldn't really mess up. I couldn't really make any errors because this was already done for me. Everything was already set up for me. My meals were already cooked and prepped and tracked. All I had to do was go take it out of the fridge, put it in the microwave, and eat it. It's the most simple thing you can do and so helpful. Take an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. If you're making super simple meals, it just take an hour and a half for you to meal prep or ingredient prep every single week. That hour is going to make the rest of your week so freaking easy. Your future self is going to be so happy that you meal prepped every single week. Every time you get to your meal at lunchtime at work, you're like, God, thank God that I meal prepped on Sunday because now I have my meals done. I feel good. I feel energized. My digestion's on track. I'm hitting my goals. I'm being consistent, and you're going to feel so incredible. We're back. My camera died. It's gonna die again. I just know it, but I'm trying to get through this quickly. I'm really upset that my camera is not charged fully, but when is it really ever? So next is following a structured strength training program. I know a lot of people are not fond of strength training, have had bad experiences with it, don't love how they feel, don't want to be bulky, but I'm telling you guys, having some muscle on your body is going to make your cutting phase so much better. Having more muscle on your body is going to help you burn more calories at rest. So having a calorie deficit in combination with strength training and building muscle at the same time is so freaking helpful. And also just for your health, if you're a woman, you need to be strength training. I'm sorry. It is so vital for your health, your longevity, your bone density, everything. You need to be strength training at some capacity. You're not trying to be in there like the Hulk. You don't got to lift 500 pounds or deadlift 300 pounds. Like, you don't have to be doing that. But you got to be strength training. You got to be pushing yourself, and building muscle is so, so important just for overall health as a woman, but especially when you are trying to lose weight in a cutting phase. So following a structured strength training program, whatever that looks like, stick to the same phase for about 4 to 6 weeks. Really progress in those workouts that you have set up. Do them for 4 to 6 weeks. Increase the weight in them every week. Increase the tempo every week. Add in more sets, more reps, whatever that looks like. Implement progressive overload with each phase and switch them up every 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes I like to keep the same workouts. If I like an exercise, I sometimes will keep leg press in every phase. Sometimes I'll keep shoulder press in every phase. So it just depends. If you like a certain exercise, keep it. But I think switching it up every so often does help create new stimulus, new challenge, new demand to your body and your muscles. So I think switching them up is important. But also sticking to them long enough to where you can actually progress in them is equally as important. So following a structured strength training program, implementing progressive overload, being consistent with those workouts. Consistency is everything, as we know, for workouts, for nutrition, for habits, for everything. Like, you need to stay consistent at something to, one, allow it to actually work for you and your body. So really giving yourself enough time with them and be consistent. Like, I know it's so hard, but really look at your schedule, look at your routine, see where you can fit in a 30 to 45-minute lift. You don't have to work out 5-6 days a week. 3 to 4 is plenty good for some strength training workouts in there, but try to make it work. Try to get it in there. Try to stay consistent with it. I'm telling you, I do think having more muscle on myself and also continuing to build muscle throughout this phase has been really helpful and beneficial for me with losing the weight too. Okay, and then when it comes to this is a big one that I've talked about a lot with you guys, but I used to abuse balance. If you guys don't know this, I've talked about it a lot on my socials, but I used to be that coach, that girl that would preach balance, and I still do, and I still think it's very, very important, but I was preaching it to the point where it wasn't balance, and it wasn't moderation, and it wasn't flexible. It was overconsumption. It was making excuses and trying to give myself way too much grace when I didn't need it. I thought that I always deserved the higher calorie option, and I always had room for it, when in reality, like, I didn't, nor did I need it. So that has been the biggest switch up for me. I don't go crazy when I eat out anymore. I still eat out. I still go out to eat couple times a week. I still drink alcohol on the weekends. That stuff is still a part of my life because it's important and I love it. I love to eat. I like to go out to restaurants and dinners with my boyfriends, my friends. But I just don't always pick the option that I necessarily want. And I know that sounds like toxic and unhealthy, but that's actually the complete opposite of it for me personally. I see it as actually more of a flexible mindset. I see it more as a healthy approach and perspective because I allow myself to have the things. So like if I'm going out to dinner with my boyfriend and we get an appetizer, maybe it's like mozzarella sticks. That's a really random example. But I'm going to have a mozzarella stick or two. But then for my dish, if I know I'm also going to want to have alcohol, I'm going to order whatever, like a Pinot Grigio, or I'm going to order a vodka soda or an Aperol Spritz. And then for my entree, it's going to be like a chicken and vegetable or chicken and like a salad. That's just the reality of it. That doesn't feel restrictive to me. That feels like balance. That feels like moderation. That feels like a good, flexible diet for me, especially when I'm in a calorie deficit, but I still want to go out and enjoy things. So that's how I've been able to maintain the two, is by just having those little sacrifices. Like, it's okay. I don't have to have the big burger every single time I go out to eat. Sometimes every couple weeks now, I will have an indulgent meal. I had Taco Bell a couple days ago and enjoyed the heck out of it. Last month or a couple weeks ago, I had Portillo's. I had the beef sandwich and the cheese fries. Like, I still indulge, but I don't do it every single time I go to those places now. If my boyfriend wants to get Portillo's and that's what we're having for dinner, but I know last week or like a couple days ago, I had like a more indulgent meal, like the beef and the cheese fries. This time, next time we go to the Portillo's, I'm not going to get the beef and the cheese fries. I'm just going to get a salad, or I'll get like a little cup of soup, with like a protein or something, like, and that's that. And that's not unhealthy. That is just me making better, more mindful, intentional decisions for me, my body, and my goals. And old me would have never done that. I would have said, that's so toxic, that's unhealthy, that's not balance. But girl, I was abusing balance. I was eating out every weekend, but making the wrong decisions. I wasn't going into the weekend with a strategy. Now I go into weekends with a strategy. I made a whole ebook on mastering your weekends, how to have weekend intentions, how to have a strategy going into the weekends, how to not fall off every weekend. So if you want that, I will put it below as well, because I think it's lays. Like, it really gives you everything you really need. So the weekends were a big, hard thing for me. And that was a big part of this journey for me that I was trying to navigate. And I was kind of using myself as like a tester and seeing like, how can I incorporate, drinking alcohol and eating my favorite foods and going out to eat with my friends and family, but also being in a calorie deficit and reaching my goals. How can I do that? So I've been testing it out on myself these last 4 months, and I have found such a good balance with it. And it is just making those sacrifices. And it's about your mindset too. Like, you have to just get to that point where you're like, okay, it's really not unhealthy. Like, I just can't be making these excuses. I know how to have a good balance. Do I think the last couple of years I've been abusing it a little bit more? For sure. And that's why I really nipped in the bud. I was like, no, girl, you have been eating the higher calorie option way too much. You don't always deserve the higher calorie option. You have goals and you want to feel better. You want to stop feeling like shit the next day. This is what you got to do. You got to make those sacrifices. You got to stop making excuses. And I think another big game changer for me was just saying no more often and setting more boundaries, because for so long I always felt like, oh, someone's gonna make fun of me that I say no to a drink, or someone's gonna be like, oh, the fitness girl's not eating today, like this, that, and the other. It's like, but for me, like, I want to feel good. I want to reach my goal, and to do that, I have to say no. I have to cancel out the noise and just focus on me and really tunnel vision on my goals. And that was making these decisions and really locking the fuck in with no more excuses, setting boundaries, and having those sacrifices. And I truly am able to live a life of true balance, where I do drink alcohol, I do go out, I do have some unhealthy junk food here and there too, but I am losing weight doing all that together, because 90% of the time I'm hitting my macros, I'm in my calorie deficit, I'm hitting my workouts and my steps. And that's why I'm able to have that sprinkled in balance way more than before, because I would have a meal out and I'd feel like shit and gain 5 pounds the next day. Now I don't gain weight just the next day, because majority of my diet and my routine is on track and is balanced in the sense of hitting my goals that I need to for my personal journey. So to wrap everything up, going over what we just talked about, there's a lot of things that go into losing weight. A lot of people, the one thing I want to leave you guys with is that losing weight, whatever your goal is, whatever wellness and fitness journey that you're on, it is not easy, but it's simple. The steps you need to take to lose weight, to reach a certain goal, are laid out for you. The hard part is obviously going and executing those things. Going to the gym when you don't want to after work is hard. But that action right there it's simple. Like that step, that task you need to take to reach your goal is simple. But going and doing it is hard. Saying no to a meal that you want to eat but is going to put you over your deficit calories is hard to do, but it's simple in the sense of you just have to say no. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you start to realize that, when you start to kind of alter your mindset a little bit to not being so easy on yourself all the time and not creating so many excuses, reaching your goals becomes a lot easier because it's all mental. Like a lot of it really truly is. And that's something for me that I had to just like tap into is like, hey, like you can say freaking no. You can trust yourself, because I feel like, especially in the beginning of this year when I was feeling my lowest, I was feeling so uncomfortable in my skin. I was just like gross. I was like, I can't handle it. When you get to that point where yourself, you're like, I just cannot handle it anymore. You will do the things you need to do to feel better. Like you'll put everything aside and you'll finally do it. And that's why I always tell people, it's like, there's no perfect time. You got to just take messy action and just, you have to get to that point where you have that with yourself and you're like, okay, I really can't take it anymore. You get to that breaking point. Sometimes, they say like a breakdown is a breakthrough, and that truly is the truth sometimes. And I just had to like, just be like, fuck, I'm done feeling like shit. And that was like the light switch moment. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. I need to trust myself, because especially in the beginning, I was like, I could never do it. I was always afraid to share my journey online because I was like, what if I fail? And I'm a fitness coach and people don't want to work with me because I failed at my own fitness journey and reaching my own goals. Like, why would someone want to work with me if I can't do it? So I had so much self-doubt. I had no self-trust. And that was really what I needed to tap into in the beginning, was just learning to trust myself, knowing that I had the ability to do it. Trusting that I could do it and having that discipline. I never used to be this disciplined, ever, ever, ever. Even when I was smaller and lost weight years and years ago, never was this disciplined, never had this much consistency ever in my life and within my fitness journey. And I think it's because I finally found a good freaking balance with the both of them. And I'm just finally saying no to things that don't serve me. I am putting excuses aside. I'm not giving myself grace every single day, but I'm still being graceful. I'm not having so much balance. I'm not abusing balance, but I'm still incorporating balance. So it sounds so back and forth, sounds so confusing and contradictory, but you have to figure out what that looks like for yourself. Some people, I could have lost weight so much quicker if I didn't go out on the weekends and didn't eat and drink out. I could have totally, I think I'm down 18 pounds total the last 4 months, and I could have gotten to that quicker for sure, but that wouldn't have been realistic or attainable for me at all. And that's what I want to leave you guys too with, is that if you are creating unrealistic goals for yourself, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to reach your goals. If you're doing things that do not serve you, that do not fill you up and do not make you happy, you are never going to stick to them, and you're never going to finally reach that goal. I'm telling you, if strength training in the gym 6 days a week is not attainable and does not feel good for you, don't freaking do it. Find a split that works for you. Maybe that's 3 days of strength training in the gym and 2 days at a Pilates class. Beautiful, perfect deal, a little bit of both. If 10,000 steps is just not realistic for you, don't set a 10,000 step goal. Maybe start with like 6,000, work your way up to 8,000. That's still really freaking good. And that's still more steps than you did before, which is then incorporating more movement, which is going to make your body react and feel better and lose more weight. So same thing with the calorie deficit. I talk about it more in the other videos. So that's why I recommend you guys just go watch that in terms of the nutrition aspect with the calorie deficit. But don't just go from 2,000 calories to 1,600 calories. You're going to have your body react in a state of shock, and it's going to be so incredibly hungry. You're going to feel so irritable, so tired, so fatigued. Do not just go from one extreme to the next. Ease your way into things. Progression over perfection always. Did I hit my steps every single week? Every single day? Not always, and that's okay, but I still showed up the next day with my best foot forward. I always showed up the next day and did something. And that's another mindset that I want you guys to instill, is something's better than nothing. Again, it keeps sounding like I am like bouncing back and forth here, but I just want you guys to realize that it is a huge mindset shift. It's a huge mental game, and I want you to be graceful and to live a life of balance, but also know that if you have specific goals, you have to let go of some some things. You have to have these sacrifices, and you have to put these boundaries up and be more disciplined and be more consistent, and also be friggin' patient. Don't just keep doing a bunch of different things because things aren't working within a week. A lot of it is mental, a lot of it is mindset, a lot of it is time, practice, and consistency. So don't give up on yourself. I wanted to for a little bit there, and I needed to remind myself that I can do it. You can do it too. You're stronger than you think. You just have to remind yourself of that you were able to do it. And if you fail and fall off one day, just get back on your feet the next day. That's it. Just keep going, keep trying, and keep improving. Okay. I think that's going to wrap up this video. My camera's kind of signaling to like, shut up. I think I covered everything. I will continue to talk about these things within my vlogs, within my videos, on social media too. I always talk about this stuff to give you guys more insightful information and continue to educate you guys. If you're ever looking for more specific help, more individualized guidance, I am a one-on-one coach. I am taking clients. I'll put the link. It's always down below. But of course, if you guys just want to shoot me a message on Instagram, please do. I'm always here to help. That's what I put on this earth to do, is to help inspire and motivate you girls. So that's pretty much everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And any other questions you have, just let me know. But I will see you guys in the next video.